And then he says this in Matthew 5:7. The next beatitude that I want to look at real briefly today is, it says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy." We did a series not too long ago called No Greater Pursuit. If you were here for that, we talked about the characteristics of God, and we went through all the different characteristics, and we got to the point where we said that God is both merciful and gracious. Mercy, that feeling to want to help, but then grace, actually showing that compassion and how they work together. And so to be merciful is really just being overwhelmed with a strong emotion for someone or something. That's what mercy means here. It's being overwhelmed by this strong emotion for someone or something. Really, here's what it comes down to. It's getting inside of that other person's skin. Like looking down your row right here at church today and at the other locations. You look down and you say, they're having a rough day. Or that person that you see in that news story, that's a horrible situation. That's a catastrophe. And you don't just feel bad about it, but you move beyond feeling bad about it, and you literally put yourself in that other person's skin, to where you see with their eyes, you think with their mind, and you feel with their heart. That's what mercy means. Where you see with their eyes, where you think with their mind, and when you feel with their heart. You get into that other person's skin, you put on the other person's shoes, and you ask the question, what would it be like to live life like that person has to live like? And if you don't like the picture, you do something about it. Even if it costs you something, you do something about it, especially if it costs you something. If you're anything like me, I don't know what it is about me, but if it's so overwhelming, I end up doing nothing. For example, when the dishes get way overwhelming, it's paralyzing. I can't even start the dishes because it's so overwhelming. Anybody like that? Don't raise your hand if you don't do the dishes, but that's just one example. We get paralyzed because something's overwhelming. Or you might look at the injustices and the needs of the world, and you say, I feel so inadequate, and so rather than doing something, you say, I can't even put a dent into this problem, so therefore I'll do nothing. But here's what I want us to remember. I want everybody to remember this. Just because you can't do everything doesn't mean that you can't do something. Let's take it a step further. Just because you can't do everything, and just because you can't do a lot of things, or even some things, doesn't mean that you can't do one thing. In other words, just because you can't do everything doesn't mean you can't do something, and your something actually could make all the difference and could mean everything for someone.